can't cry. I know you hit your foot, but we're live now. Ed, we're live.
What's
So I
up,
know you
everybody? Welcome.
your foot. Yes. Good morning, everyone. This is Gigi,
God.
and I have Ed with me. Our friend Israel is not on today because
What's up, everybody?
he's craft. Yes. What's up, everyone on Facebook? I guess you can join
Yeah.
us on the Dance Movement private group or on my little Facebook page or my YouTube channel. All right. And if you want more info on all this, you can always PM us. Ed, why don't you give out your information first? I guess no one ever sees that.
It's okay.
Good.
So I'm actually doing this through my phone, Gigi, so I can't even
Yeah,
see the chat box. So I don't know if you want to manage that. But
it's okay.
welcome, everybody. As Gigi said, unfortunately, our bud Israel is attending
Training.
it's a training that.
Oh, Ed, you completely you
Yes.
chopped up now. What's up?
Oh my
How
God. Is that me or?
oh please don't tell me,
Whoa.
yes.
How's the internet
Is
now?
is your
No, no,
internet
no, no. We're
connected?
good. We're good. I don't have a
Okay.
camera coming on from behind me. No, we're good.
Oh, I see the shade from last week. All right, let's get into it. This week it's a good topic for all of us. Basically, we are discussing, can you become successful as a part-time real estate agent? Is this possible? Is this even possible? A lot of the time,
The myth.
no. Ed, what do you think? And we're going to cover a whole bunch of stuff. Can you be successful as a part-time agent? I want to start with how you started as a part-time agent, how it was, and what clicked, and what made you go in full-time. Can you hear me?
So I mean, as you mentioned, I've been in the industry. Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Perfect. So I got started back in 2018, as far as real estate goes, but I jumped into it kind of head first. The reason why I did that was because I already had a sales background. I was actually in business for myself. I set up a plumbing business, and then I wanted to reinvest the money. So I said, where else to put it but real estate? But my problem is I was born in, I don't know about everybody else, but I was born in this foreign place in Queens, New York. So we have a hard time trusting people. You know what I mean? So I said, you know what? I'm not gonna just go ahead and give it to anybody or put that opportunity out
Mhm.
there. I'd rather just charge it myself and get familiar with the industry. So do I think it's possible? Absolutely. It all starts with the mindset. It all comes down to what it is you want out of it. And if you really want it, you're gonna put the time into it to then hopefully walk away from whatever it is you're doing on the side, if real estate is what you want, and maybe jump into this head first.
Yeah, yeah. So let's see. So you started. You had this plumbing business. Um, what what? Yeah. So you wanted to put money back in it. So how did you work this out? Because I remember you used to be doing part time, but in the morning, right, and on the weekend, correct?
Yeah, mornings. I mean, yeah, I would spend my days there for the most part in the morning and in the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I said, can it be done? Absolutely. You know what I mean? It all comes down to what it is you want. But I realized something.
Okay.
Just like everyone else, people usually work 9 to 5s. People work during the days and they're off on the weekends.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what I realized was I can be super effective in the morning, as far as, generating leads, trying to market myself, and training as best as I
Yeah.
can in that small window to then go out and do what I needed to do at night. And then on the weekends, people like to go and see properties on the weekend. So it fit my schedule. It fit the schedule that I had in place.
Right. So let's talk about, if you want to jump into. I'm just going to talk to agents at large. I think you need to make the decision that you're going to go in real estate, and this is a whole different, because we talked earlier about mindset. This is a whole different mindset than
Yep.
having a 9 to 5 job. You do a task for basically for your boss, and you have to answer to your
Hmm.
supervisor, punch in your hours, and when you're done, you're done. Real estate is a whole different story. right? So I think you were mentioning to me the business quadrant, and I have it right here that we can see. And Ed, if you just can brush a little bit on the idea of having this business mentality versus employee mentality, right?
Yeah,
Since you
no
did
worries,
explain,
Gigi. So I
really
mean,
nice.
what I thank you. So what I was realizing as I started, and I mentioned this to you, Gigi, as I came into the field,
Yeah,
I noticed that a lot of people were also getting their license, going through the process, going through the hours of training, getting certified, and I realized something. Number one is um, anybody can get their license,
sure.
and number two
Pretty
is
almost, yeah,
anybody can get their license. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So what does that mean? There could be a good agent, there could be a bad agent. Just like there's good
yes,
doctors, just like there's bad doctors. But
yeah,
what does that all tie into? It's the mindset that you have in place. So as I was coming into this, in a way, I've done outside sales, so jumping on the calls, making phone calls wasn't difficult for me. I've already had that mindset. Number two was I
right.
was already in business for myself. So I wasn't thinking, hey, you know what? I'm going to put this amount of time. And by the time I'm done, I'm going to get paid X amount of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, that's the employee mindset. That's what we were taught, right?
Right.
You go to
Yeah.
school, get good grades, you do good in college, you're going to get a good job. What do you do there? You work 9 to 5, you do what you have to do. So every week you're expecting a check, if not weekly, bi weekly. And hopefully it's not too weekly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as you're trying to generate additional income, and I've seen that everybody wants to generate income, do part time work. So you have to step back from the employee mindset. Understand that you have to put a lot of time into it. You're going to find yourself putting so many hours, driving so many miles, meeting so many people before you can potentially get a deal, 2 deals, 3 deals in until you start
Yeah.
to
Let's
get the
get
snowball
started.
effect,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
you
So
know? So that
basically,
was the employee mindset that we had to get out of.
right. And a lot of the things you do on your own, because even though you're going to have a broker from whatever company you're going to be with, or brokerage or franchise that are going to give you some perk in the business, you are generating the business yourself. Even if you're going to get a buyer lead from your broker,
Correct.
that's going to cost you a little bit, because there is a cost to everything. It's going to cost you a little bit. You're going to have to give a referral feedback to your broker, to your team leader, and definitely seller leads. No one is going to give you a seller lead. Like, you're going to have to go and find. I mean, even though you
Correct.
may find it. I remember in our brokerage we used to give out seller leads, but we had to the brokerage would get a referral back, and would make sure that the agent would secure that seller lead. So the business is on you. It's whatever you put out, you put in, you're gonna get out.
Yes.
Okay, so
What I
yeah, go ahead.
just to piggyback on that, what I liked about that idea was, you're in business for yourself. So no one's
Right.
there kind of telling you, hey, you have to do this, hey, you have to do that, get your stuff in order, you have to make this amount of calls, you have to do this. Some people come out of the employee mindset, and this is what we have to look at now, right? Unfortunately, we went through COVID. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that lost their jobs. And if you're tuning in
Mhm.
today thinking about, hey, you know what? I saw real estate, I heard about it. So and so said I have great communication skills. And you know what? I don't mind it. I think I could do it. Look, jump into it. I think if you believe that you can do it, then there's no reason why you can't. You just now have to focus on time management after that. You have to then find the right team of people that are going to take the time to invest in you to then show you the way, kind of hold your hand and say, hey, come on, let's do this together. Because if I help you win, then I'm going to win also. I don't know a lot of brokers or brokerages that are out there like that. And if you're a part of it, fantastic. Lock arms with your broker, lock arms with with the team
Mhm.
leader. That way you can propel yourself. And education is key there, because if you're limited on time, which we're going to touch on, if you're limited on time, you have to be strategic, more strategic on what you're going to do with that time, because you only have a certain amount of it that you're trying to invest. You have your full-time work. If you're working full-time and want to do real estate part-time, that's locked in. Work around it. There's a lot of stuff we could do. And now with virtual trainings, with Zoom calls, you can literally watch these recordings at your own time.
So let's talk about, so I think that one of very important point, and I'm going to write it down, is be intentional about your business, your real estate business that like you want to be part-time. Let's be intentional. So let's divide your time to, you have your 9 to 5 job, you know what days you're working on, how much time you're going to dedicate to real estate. You should punch in those days on your calendar. And you should also punch in the days you're not going to work, because burnout,
100%.
jobs, these full-time jobs, these part-time jobs, you might go crazy very, very soon. So punch in some time off as well as the time you're going to dedicate to that real estate job. Like, come in with a plan. So that's the plan. That's okay. Let's set up this time apart and let's do this. To that, okay, you have your job, you're going to punch in and all this and that. It's great. Now, how do I get started as a real estate agent? What do I do now? You're telling me all those crazy, scary things. I have to get all the leads myself. I have to generate, I have to make phone calls. Oh my God, marketing, Ed, don't you think that's scary? No? Because I remember
it is the scariest thing ever.
25 years ago, I had the scariest experience in my first week in real estate. All right. I had no idea. I had no plan, no nothing. I'm like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. It's been almost 5 years. I think I'm going to go crazy. So I need to find a job. And that's how I started. Like, let me find something. Real estate was easy. I got the license. Now let me find a broker. I went to a big international franchise at the time, 321. I'm not, I can say it. Great office, a lot of people, a lot of energy, but manager just gave me that big book. It was called the Call Directory. And he said, just open up that page. Here's a script, start calling. And I'm like,
hold on a second, though. Call Directory? I mean, you probably have people that are tuning in right now that don't even know what that is.
It was a big book of people and phone numbers, and I had no idea.
It was prehistoric Google. That's what it was.
So that was 1995, and it was scary. And
and
you don't know why you're doing it. And you're like, I'm going to talk to people and it was like gruesome and people were mean. And I was like, my accent was worse than now. And I was reading this piece of paper. Want to listen to me. It was horrible. Horrible.
Yeah.
So backtrack. I would not anyone to start this way. You need to set intention of what you can do. There are other ways to get business. Yes, we can eventually do when we can resume calling. You can do it, but it's just like it's a very tough way of calling strangers and ask them if they're even remotely interesting or know someone who is interested in buying or selling. So you need to set different intentions. All right, and I think. Let me just look at my note. So how you get, so let's retract. So now you're starting the business. You know how many hours you're going to dedicate to the business, right? You want to survive that first month that we were mentioning, right? So you want to make sure that you're set up right. First week, don't even think of starting to generate anything. I think you need to get set up with all the systems that you have in place with your brokerage. Right.
I agree with you. I think when you're stepping into it, okay, aside from setting up your time, you need to keep in mind, and I'm going to keep saying it, you need to have a good mindset in place. You can't get distracted by what's going on. You can't get distracted by the negativity. And I make fun of this. This is what I make fun of. When I start to hear the conversations of, oh my God, but who is this person? But what area is this property in? Were they on the market? This is a for sale by owner? Oh my God, what are they going to say to me? What I call it, those are bricks. Every time you come up with an idea, think about standing in place. You grab a brick and you're like, oh my God, this is a for sale by owner? Yes, put some cement on it and take that brick and put it right in front of you. And every time you continue to look at that obstacle and say, but what if they pick up? What if they curse me out? What if they do that? Just imagine yourself taking another brick, putting more cement on it. slapping it in front of you, and you're building this wall. If you continue to dwell on that, you're going to find yourself 2 hours in looking at Instagram and saying, damn, I could have called somebody. You know what I
No,
mean? So,
I was,
so you don't
yeah,
want to do that. You want to be effective.
yeah. So I was talking about your first week in real estate and just like saying, let's set your system, because let's remember, so you're going to want to get into
Yeah.
real estate. There are some costs associated to it. You're going to do your 75-hour class.
Yes.
Okay, there is a cost associated to that. I think you can
Yeah.
do,
So I mean, look, if you're really thinking, if you're really thinking about taking that dive, there's the
you're
training
going to do
classes
your
that
real
they're
estate class.
available out there.
So let's go in order. You're going to do your real estate
Hmm.
class. You're going to take the test. You're going to pay for that
It's
test.
about a
Now,
75-hour course.
75-hour course, the test, each time you go to the test, because some people don't get it right away, you're going
Like
to
me.
have to pay $15 or $20 to get in.
One thing
55.
I will say about that, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but yes, some people go there and get it the first time. I'm gonna tell you right now, it took me 4 tries. It took me 4 tries to
Yeah,
pass
and it
that
doesn't
test.
mean you're
So I
stupid.
paid.
No, 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 no.
No.
Yeah, no,
So
no.
yeah,
And
100%. So
those questions could be tricky. And if you have a
listen,
second,
they can.
for somebody like me who has a second language, that could be like, you have to read it like 3 times. What do they mean? What is that?
If
Because your
if I
first answer
showed
is
you,
automatically the wrong one. So, yes,
if
so
I
get the
showed you my textbook, every time I went into that class and took the exam, I would run out and try to highlight everything I could remember. And I'm like, this is just in case if I gotta take this test one more damn time, you know?
But it's okay. So you got it. So now you got the test. Now you pay for your
Yeah.
license.
So,
You need to
mhm,
choose brokerage and choose wisely. Okay. And
100%.
brokerage, there might be a monthly fee attached to it. There might be a tech fee in that
Yeah.
monthly fee, so on and so forth. And that's fine. So you need to budget everything. You need to have a budget. Even if you don't have much of a budget, you're going to need
Yes.
to spend some money on your business. Okay. Then the big doozer
Hmm.
is association dues, MLS, MLS and Board of Realtor Associations. Those are probably the biggest fees that you have to pay a year. And you want to be part of this type of network where you're going to have access to a lot of listings that other agents are putting out and be able to actually cooperate. It's more than co-broke, it's just cooperate with those agents. So those are like a lot of fees. Okay, so your real estate, your real estate
Yes.
class, your real estate license, you're jumping in with your brokerage for your, and then selling up your monthly fees for technology and so on and so forth,
Hmm.
your subscription dues. So that's going to cost you, I would say, between $1,000 and $1,500 to get started.
Yes.
Okay. Have little costs like the business cards and so on and so forth. Some brokerage
Yes.
will offer it to you, and get started. You're gonna have
Correct.
some listing dues in some offices, not because sometimes you have a desk fee and that's associated with that, but whatever.
Yeah.
So count to have at least $1,000, $1,500, and that's not a lot to start a business. That could get you like 6 figures even as a part-time. I think it's really great, like that $1,500 to get started. So this should be there. And I don't know if it's too much, but I think this is about the cost, right? Ed, what do you think?
Give or take. Give
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 or
or
take.
take. Again, it all comes down to what you're investing in, what you're trying to get
All
involved
right,
with.
1,000 to 1,500. Yes. All right. And so you have that
Yeah.
cost. You started your business, and you also
Hmm.
have in the next 2 years you're going to have to renew your license. You're going to have those continuing
Yes.
education costs. So a lot of the times you'll find free classes offered by different members of your boards and title companies or attorneys' offices or even real
You
estate schools.
and you can also have like the National Association of Realtors, the MLS, for example. They actually give these courses out over the course of the next 2 years. There are some free
Mhm.
classes as of right now for the majority of my CE courses, that all the hours continuing education that I've had up to this point, all of them for the most part have been free. The only
Yeah.
one that wasn't, and this is a course that I highly, highly recommend if you're jumping into an agent. Let's say you've already found your brokerage, you're already looking to practice real estate. I would highly recommend taking the Certified Buyer's Representation course. That right there is going to educate you on how to move forward with buyers. Usually people
Right.
start with buyers,
Right. So
right?
this is
Usually
an
people,
advanced course. This is an
yeah,
advanced course. I think we could have like a different conversation about that. It's a
yeah.
great class and certification to have if you want
Hmm.
to be able to represent properly a buyer and actually work with the buyer on an exclusive basis. And I think this is very important to have that certification. But now let's say you're just starting out,
Yeah.
you like getting your feet wet, you want to work real estate like from let's say 5 o'clock in the evening and then every weekend. Um,
Yeah.
we talk about the cost, we talk about getting set up. Now, what do you do with your time? You set up your calendar with your time working real estate. Now, what do you do, Ed? What you could recommend doing with those few
So the
hours that
first thing is if you're jumping into this head on, first thing I'm gonna say is you need to educate yourself. Gigi, I don't know if you realized it, but as we were in the office, luckily at that time we were offering trainings only 3 days a week. We would offer them in the morning. I was a part of those trainings.
mm-hmm.
Why? You had mortgage lenders coming in, teaching the interest rate, so we're getting familiar with what the banks are looking for.
Right.
You had top producing agents come in and then teach us on what they did to then give a listing presentation or a buyer's consultation appointment or meeting. You know what I mean? So all of the training that was taking place there is what I was involved in. I don't know what it's like now because of COVID. I don't know all the other brokerages. I could only speak on behalf of what we're doing as far as our team goes.
Right.
But the neat
Yeah.
part about it is that if you are looking to do something part time, we have over 50 plus hours of training and
And
recorded
that's
training.
without brokerage, right? So in
Correct.
our
That's
been
particular to our
very
team.
lucky. I'm so grateful
Mhm.
for what we have. Other brokerages are offering also a lot of training, and they're very proud of this. But
Yeah.
we speak only on what we know. And yes, we have over 50 hours of training that is
Hmm.
basically online, accessible whenever they offer the course, and then on demand if you cannot participate. We have within our smaller group we have even
Yeah.
more training, like more specialized and like geared towards getting leads and getting out there and talking to the public. And just like all those are offered. So if you want to talk to Ed or myself
Hmm.
about this, and now you can get access to those trainings, whether you are with our company or not, we'll be glad to answer that. And again, this is where the opportunity is. You don't have to be part of our group to benefit from this training. And
Correct.
I think what we offer, we're giving back, and this is like really like I'm really grateful for this.
I
All
mean,
right. Yeah, Melody is
that's
saying
what
she
it comes down to. That's what it
can't.
really comes down to.
Yeah, yeah. And Melody is actually um, saying she's spending this weekend training as much as she can. She has a 9 to 6 p.m.
Nice.
job on the weekdays, and she's still doing it. She's still doing it. Really proud of that. So let's go about
On the
what
weekdays.
you do with your
Yeah.
time. I was
I
talking
feel like,
about,
listen, I'm gonna add to this.
yeah,
I feel like I feel like a lot of people that are busy, like for example, 9 to 5s, the people that are busy, occupied, doing something with their time, these are the people that you're actually gonna find make more time to do what it is they needed to achieve that dream or whatever it is. So if it is real estate, you're gonna figure out a way to squeeze it in. Like Gigi said, time management is key on that also. So aside from education, is time management. You don't want to burn out. If you're doing this part time, it sounds like you want to walk away from your job or whatever it was that you used to do before. Maybe it doesn't fit your I would say your creature of humanity at that point. But
yeah.
it's literally like for me, I couldn't be stuck in an office. I had to be out. I had to be interacting. COVID for me really kind of put me in a place where I'm like, oh my God, I can't speak to people. But it's good.
You know
In this case,
what?
as you
Yeah, I mean, you can. This is what I recommend, in my humble opinion. This is what I recommend to new agents getting started. So you get started, please get plugged in as much as you can. Know your systems, because I'm seeing a lot of people get
get
lost
involved, yeah.
in translation because they don't know how to get set up with the business. Yes, there is a little bit of a shift but everything we're doing is user friendly. So get used to the system, your CRM, get set up, your email, get
Yeah.
set up properly, get acquainted with the training schedule, get acquainted with the meeting with your
Hmm.
office, acquainted with the training sessions. And then plug in different groups on Facebook, meet up, start networking with people. It's always good. Ask questions, go to your team leader, but get acclimated on your first week. Just get plugged into everything. Put in whatever training you can in your evening hours and stuff like that. Get familiar with the products that are
Yeah.
offered in your MLS, your area. It's not only the for sale by owner. See what's out there. As real estate agents, once you're part of a board, a realtor, and MLS, you have access to close property. You see what, start with your neighborhood. I'm not saying even start doing a big farming. I'm not even going that far. Get familiar with prices, get familiar with a little bit of statistics, how long properties are staying on the market, what
Yeah.
type of structure they
I
offer, a whole bunch of
I
stuff
mean
like that.
that jumps into all the education that's
Mhm.
out there. But again, like there's a lot. Guys, understand that as you finish that textbook, chances are you might not reopen that textbook. That real estate
Or
textbook
never.
might be a doorstepper. It might be a doorstopper. The day we get like a frozen front coming in, that might be something you can use to start a fire. But I'm telling you, where you're going to start to learn the majority of it is when you're locking arms with either a team leader, somebody that's helping you go along the way, because it's a lot. It's a lot of information and it's a
Mhm.
small amount of time, but you have to be really effective. You know what I mean? So figure out the time. If you're working 9 to 5 and you can put 2, 3 hours a day after that to then do what you have to do,
Yeah.
you just have to break everything down. That's all it
So,
is.
yeah.
The showings take place for the most part on the weekends and maybe sometimes during the day. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes they take place during the week in the morning. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But if you're a part of a team, the good part about that is that you can take that lead and say, hey, I'm gonna connect you with one of my associates. Hey, meet Gigi. She's gonna take you to see that property. Let her know what you feel about it. Or hey, you know what? Follow up with me after this showing. There's ways to work around it. Don't feel like you're in it by yourself.
So
Just
you
know
can,
that there's teams
yeah.
out there to support you.
Once you know the time you have available, I would be like, let's be open minded about things. Like, like you can propose to, even if you're
Yes,
not in a, you can propose
you
to
have to be.
other agents to show for them, like get your feet wet. You don't have any buyers yet. Propose to
Mhm.
other agents in your team or in your organization. Hey, you know what? I'm free after 5, from 5 to 7. If you cannot do your showings, I'll be able to help you out and do the showings.
Yeah.
Work something out with that agent. That is going to send you on showings for whatever
Mhm.
commission or commission split you're gonna discuss, but get your feet
Yeah.
wet, get out and show for them. Also,
100%.
one thing, you're gonna have to put the word out there that you're doing real estate. We were always talking about the secret agent. If you don't
Yeah.
tell people you're in real estate, don't be surprised that 2 months down the line your aunt is gonna say, oh, I sold my house and I use this agent at ABC Realty. And you're gonna say, but auntie, I told you I was getting my license. Yes, sure. If you're not in her face and telling auntie, hey auntie, if you need anything in real estate, please come out to me. Or auntie, who do you know in your church that is looking for a
Yeah.
house? Or who do you know in your church that is looking to sell the house? She's not going to remember. That's what it is. So spend some times calling what we call your sphere of influence or your center of influence. Dedicate some times every day
Mhm.
to the people you know and tell them what you're doing. And we have scripts for that. There are scripts. And if you don't want scripts, don't
Yeah.
do the scripts, but get out there and ask for the business.
Yeah.
Okay? Because otherwise, it's going to be very tough. Then we have the questions of Ed. We were talking
Yeah.
about marketing. How much do you want to pay for marketing or do you not want to pay? Because we always have those options out there. There is
So
Zillow.
look,
Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, there's a lot of different opportunities out there that we can take advantage of. And sorry, Gigi, I think there's
Mhm.
like a slight lag on my end. So as you finish speaking, the words are coming in right after. So I apologize if it takes me a minute
Go
to respond.
ahead.
But
Go ahead. Go.
um, what I will say is that look, you have to step back. You have to step back a little bit and remember you're in business for yourself, right? So whatever you invest, you're going to get back in return. Yes, we're real estate agents, but what I say is, in actuality, we're farmers. Okay, you have to look at it in the farmer's mentality.
Right.
Farmers, they will they will plant seeds, but they're not expecting it to grow in the next hour, right? Like if I make 5 calls right now, I'm not expecting to submit 5 deals right now. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? So you have to realize that. So as you take that step back, remember, you're going to invest right now. You're probably not going to see the benefits of it right now, next week, next month. You might start seeing it maybe the following 2 months, 3 months,
Yes,
four
but
months, but you have to be consistent.
in the meantime, you have to nurture that plant, that little seed that you put in the ground.
Yes.
Water it. You
So
have to
that's what
make
I
sure.
was going to touch on. That's what I was going to touch on right after. So it's
Yeah.
true, right? So that's how it is. So what if you get a lead that says I'm not buying 12 until 12 months from now? That's where the nurturing kicks in. That's where I have to put some water on it, give it some sunlight, groom it a little bit, clean it up. So that's how you have to do it. Now, as far as investing goes, there's so many different ways of doing it. You can do it again through social media, Facebook. You can do Google advertisement. That all costs money. You're paying per click for the most part. That's usually the idea. You pay for specific words, people click on it, they're going to charge you for it. But there's more to it. You have to convert that lead. So we're looking for leads. So it all depends on how many leads you can handle and how much money you want to invest into that. Remember, you're in business for yourself. You're not in business by yourself because hopefully you've learned to a.
You're breaking up a little bit, and it also you. There are some ways where you don't have to pay. You don't have
Yes.
to pay the leads, but there is sweat equity in it. You're gonna have to put in some work.
Sweat and equity. Yep.
It's just calling people that are looking to sell houses on their own. It's calling people who's whenever we can, again, whenever we can resume calling, because right now we
Yes.
have an executive order in place and we cannot do this. But everything will open up eventually again.
Correct.
Calling people who had listings on the market and that did not sell. You can also call, you can also ask your broker for old office leads that you would want to revive. That's
Mm-hmm.
also a thing. We used to have this exercise, Ed, remember, like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's,
I got my first deal off of one of those
there you
lists.
go. There you go. And you know
You
what?
know?
People are willing to talk to you. So yes, go
Yeah.
ask broker for old office leads.
You can't think about it. That's what I'm gonna say. You can't really think about it. You have to jump in it full force, say,
You have
hey,
to
you know
do it.
what, I'm gonna do it. And what I would say is, look, we spoke about it, right? You gotta have time management, you gotta educate
Yeah.
yourself. Where's the
Yeah.
money really coming in? Leads.
Yeah.
So where do you want to be more effective on is the lead. But you have to train yourself on what to say, how to say it, and things like that. So
And you have
education,
to be open minded. You have to find
yes, for
what works for you.
constructive criticism. All
Yeah.
right. You have to be open minded to it. If somebody's going to say, you can sit with somebody and say, hey, look, Gigi, can you just hear my conversation real quick? I just want to see if I'm saying the right thing. I
Yeah.
just want to
Or
see if the right
somebody
words are
is
coming out.
see, somebody's putting in an executive order on calling. Yes, in the state of New York, we have an executive order from
Correct.
governor where we're not allowed to solicit
We're
until
not.
notice. And
But there are other avenues that we can
yes,
utilize. Okay. So, like, for example, a lot of our team members utilize social media. You know, they they're
yeah,
utilizing social media. And the neat part about, and look, this is another thing too, right? How do I get my attention out there? I'm sure that's a question, right? How do I get my attention out there? How can I get my best foot out there to let the world know I'm in real estate? Number one, you announce it, let them know you're a part of real estate. All right. And number two is hopefully, and I'm going to say this again,
hopefully,
hopefully you are a part of a brokerage that their agents are open to you advertising their listings, not like it's your own, but just a sense of just a way for us to get more attention, right? Like if Gigi had a listing and I went to Gigi and said, hey, Gigi, I'm going to advertise your listing. She's not going to say no to me. She's going to say, hey, do it. Why? We're trying to get it sold. If she can do a deal with me, she would much rather do a deal with me than somebody from elsewhere, from A and B C Realty. So
Yeah.
if you're
So,
coming into that, you want to jump into that with an agent,
mhm,
link up with one of the team leaders and say, hey, look, there's some stuff that I can put out there, maybe promote. Hey, Gigi, do you have an open house maybe that I could do
yeah,
this weekend? You know, or hey, Gigi, I know you're doing an open house this weekend. Did you need help? I just wanted to shop, just kind of like, be a fly on the wall and see how you handle it, just to get
yeah.
an idea and a feel of it.
Yeah. So I want to answer Olivia Woodson, who she's saying until when the executive order is in place. To tell you frankly, it's been pushed back every month. So I don't know. Is it until March?
I think it is it March? I thought it was like till February 28th, but then like,
Okay.
when February 28th hits, they're gonna say something else like, oh, March
They
31st.
might, they might, but it
I
doesn't
hope
mean
not.
they do. So
I
I wouldn't get so hung up onto this executive order because
don't.
not everybody is doing phone solicitation, and there are other avenues. If you're part of a brokerage where you're allowed to go and ask also another agent, hey, can I advertise your listing? You
Hmm.
know, a lot of the time, especially in these markets where you still have pockets of market in Queens, in Brooklyn, in Manhattan, like where we are at, where things are not moving as fast, they'll really, really welcome you, to do so. So you can do also open houses for them.
Yeah.
You can also advertise the listing. And please, I'm gonna say something as a listing agent. Don't expect to be paid half of the listing commission on the selling end when hosting an open house. Like, get your feet wet. Like, be very grateful to these agents who wants to help you out.
Hmm.
And and if you can get buyers out of it, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Then work those buyers, call them, see if you can help them even down the line, like spend some
Yeah.
time with that, right? And work with those mortgage brokers that are recommended by your office so you understand the deal process and get
Hmm.
yourself so pre-qualified for a mortgage if you're not a homeowner yourself yet,
One of
right?
the big steps to take, I would say, yeah. Because then,
Yes.
aside from knowing what the process is from the
Put
mortgage
yourself
end
in the shoe.
and understand, yes, that's what it is. You have to understand something, right? We're coming in this maybe transactional, like God forbid,
Mhm.
right? But let's just say I lost my job. I was watching HGTV and $1 Million Real Estate was on and Ryan Serhan was there selling it up. And I'm like, oh my God, I know I can be better than that guy. I'm gonna get my real estate license, right? And then I go and get it but then what comes after that? You got to invest in yourself. You got to
Yeah,
you got to take those steps. You got to
yeah,
understand this is a business, right? You have to have a business mentality. As you
yeah,
put work in, you might not get paid right there and then. Like Gigi said, you go to an open house, don't expect them to pay you everything. Be grateful. Be appreciative at the fact that you have a list. If like I remember when I did an open house for Gigi, she's like, go ahead, Ed, you got the list of buyers, work the list of buyers. And I'm like, fantastic. I'm gonna call these people. Why? Because I don't know where the opportunity might be. And that's how
right.
you have to look at it. Take it out of your head, all right, or should I say take it out of your wallet and put it in your heart, right?
Yeah,
Work on
yeah.
getting them, the clients or the customer, what it is that they want, right? You help
Mhm.
them get what they want, then you're gonna get what you want naturally. And as long as you
I think,
approach it that way,
yeah,
you
I
shouldn't have a
think you
problem.
become successful in this business when you're not so hung up until how much commission am I going to get.
Yeah.
And sometimes it hurts me when I'm hearing agents that are just, even those that are co-brokering, I understand is their thing, but how much you gonna get me? How much you gonna share with me? It's like when you know,
Mm-hmm.
get your sweat, learn from those people, get a mentor, like somebody who's willing to teach you every step of the business. And that's where it's very difficult because it takes a lot of time. There is almost no reward. I mean, there is a little bit of financial reward for that mentor, but get
Yeah.
somebody to help you in the business, shadow them whenever you can. I know right now it's snowing. It's been snowing for 2 days, but go do it. Actually go and even if you don't have a buyer, go and open houses, see how the agents are running them, get some idea
Mm-hmm.
and get what not to do. Ask questions. They'll be glad, especially if it's a dead open house. They'll be glad to hear from you. And you never know. Sometimes they may want to associate with you. You never
100%.
know, but you have to be out there. You have to be curious, like say Kupa, you said you always have to ask the 5-year-old questions, but why, but why, but why?
Yeah.
And it's true, like be out there, like be open-minded, learn, be open-minded, learn. go and see what other people are doing, and learn from that, the good and the bad. You don't have to do the bad, but you say, here, this is what I should be doing.
Look, we
Definitely.
gotta be smart. We gotta be smart, all right? Like I said in the beginning, the greatest thing about being able to get your real estate license is that anybody can get it. And the worst part about it is anybody can get it. So you need to understand that we're human beings. People are going to do what they're going to do, and we're adults. I'm sure everybody that's licensed, right, is an adult. How do I know that? You have to be over the age of 18. So,
Yeah.
so if you're over the age of 18 and you're walking around like, hey, I'm an adult, then understand you might work with a team or a brokerage or a real estate company that maybe they're doing some good stuff and maybe they're doing some bad. But you have to be grown enough and say, you know what? That's who they are. Let them do the bad. I'm just going to absorb as much good because I'm trying to
Mhm.
sharpen my skills. I'm trying to be better at what I'm trying to do.
And I'm going to say something to the the reactionary people here that have been saying that want to start real estate, and I don't want to be
That's
negative. I'm
a
just trying to find
personality
the right.
class, G's. That
Yeah, no, 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 no. I know I'm a very
personality
driven,
class.
but this is what's going on. You have, when I keep on saying open-minded, we live in an era of technology.
Mm,
So somebody's telling me I don't know how to open an email. I cannot help you. You have to go and find a class on how
mm.
to out Google and open an email, and how to do basic internet user, basic, like opening tabs, doing a search like this. In this business, we're not gonna have time to teach you how to use the internet. You're gonna have to learn it yourself. And very few people are not computer friendly, unfortunately, for the
Unfortunately, yeah.
crowd my age. Uh,
How old are
and
you?
say this, get on with the program. Yes, everything is about Facebook. You need to have a Facebook account. At the least, you need to have a LinkedIn account because you want to network with other professionals. You want to have an Instagram account. And yes, you want to do some reels. Sometimes you want to try that. You want to do a Facebook Live. You want to do a Facebook post. You want to. This is a great avenue to get out and for people to know what you're doing. And yes, you have to do it. If you're not on social media, I don't know where you are. Am I wrong or am I right?
Look, honestly, remember when you were talking about the pre-Google phone book, right? That's basically our way of getting to know each other now. Everyone has an
Mhm.
Instagram. It's like our virtual business card, right? A lot
Yeah.
of businesses and a lot of people are jumping on Instagram, but I think it all ties into who we are as human beings, right? You kind of just want to connect with somebody or find somebody that you can relate to. And every single one of you guys are unique. And I'm looking directly in the camera and I'm going to say it again. Every single one of you guys are unique. Don't feel like you're anything less.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
too, Gigi. Don't feel like you're anything less. Just understand that it's a process.
Yeah.
Understand that you have to have patience. And yes, if you don't know the internet, for example, or you don't know how to set up a Facebook account, I can guarantee you that if you go on YouTube and look that up, you're probably going to find a video that explains it a lot better than me.
Yeah.
And that's me just looking at it in the sense of I can step away from that and say that's something that I don't need to spend time on, but I know you can find it here. And if you
Yeah.
can't go and find it there, it's kind of like the conversation we were talking about the other day. You can't really push people to do something they don't want to do. So if you don't want to do it, just let your team leader know, hey, you know what? I don't want to do this. This isn't
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do. And if you
Correct.
do, I'm sure the team leader or anybody, right? Like Gigi, if a new agent came up to you and said, hey, Gigi, can I just pick your brain for a second? I did that myself. You know who I
Anytime.
did that to? I did that to Olga Mayeva. And I don't know if
Oh
she's
yeah.
on the call or she remembers, but when I did it, 2018, we're talking about March. She probably doesn't remember me coming up to her like that. But I asked her, hey, you were making calls, you were doing this. And
Yeah.
even though like English is not my first language and it's not hers either. But even though there might have been a little slight difficult communication, I still understood the passion. I knew where she was coming from, and she was hitting some of the information that I was looking for. She was answering my questions. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
and where do you learn that? When people get pointed out at the meetings, right? When you have different meetings, when you have different associations. Like I said, unfortunately, we can't do that anymore because of COVID, or it's a little difficult.
We do,
But
we do, we still do, we
but
still
we
do. We
still
have,
do it in Zoom. The only
we still
difference is I
see
can't
each
hug
other a lot.
everybody. I
Yes.
can't hug everybody. That's the only
Yeah.
thing. I'm
No,
gonna just
but
hug my
we do
camera.
a virtual hug. We clap, we cheer. There is still so much love. I know
Yeah,
we can't wait for the time where we can actually physically like pat each other in the back and have a
yeah.
drink, cheer, and just like big hug everybody. Because
Mhm.
yes, when you work with, once you gel in an office and you find the right combination of what
Yeah.
you call the culture. It's a big word in America. The culture in the office where people get together on a
It's
personal
thrown
level.
around too much.
Uh,
Everybody has culture now, apparently.
and you know, and you like you find your family in there. It's
Mm,
really important, you know, because
yeah,
you find yourself as a part-timer and you're a loner, you're all by yourself, you're a real estate orphan. It's very difficult, very
yeah.
very difficult. So find a group where you can actually find, you know, like find that you fit in, or you learn to fit in,
Yeah.
and people embrace you being a part-time agent, and people are willing to talk to you,
Hmm.
hesitate to ask questions, just like Ed did with Olga, and get that mentorship. Like find somebody you can gravitate to, and yes, pick their brain, pick
Yeah.
their brain. So in we have a few minutes.
Well, look, G, just to tie it all back together, because I know we
Yeah,
spoke a lot. I don't know if there's any more questions in the chat. I don't know. I can't really see it on my end. If you see any
not
there.
really,
Okay,
not
cool.
really.
So if you guys are still, I guess if you guys are still tuning in, the key things are that set up your time. Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. But you
Is
have
it
to
difficult?
understand,
Easy? No.
it's not
It's
easy.
you have to
It's not
set
easy.
your intention
Hmm.
and your frame of mind. Like I am not going to work for a boss. He's not going to tell me what to do. I have to figure out what to do by myself. So yeah,
100%.
you have to find it deep in your heart, set
Yeah.
your intentions and say, here, along with setting my time, this is what I plan on doing, and set your system, put your
Hmm.
own little systems in place. If you
Yes.
want to expand on that, Ed, go ahead, because
Well, no, you hit it on the you hit it right on the head. So it's that you have to set up a system.
you
Again,
own
can you?
it.
Yes, you have to set up a system that's going to work in around your schedule. If you're working full time and you're looking to do this part time, you have to set up a schedule. Once you set up that schedule, you got to train yourself as much as possible, whatever the hours of the week are going to be. Even if you're putting 3 hours a day, right? And then the weekends you're open to whatever because you don't work, you're off. Use them effectively. Is it hard? 100%. What is it going
Yeah.
to be hard on? You, okay? It's going to be hard on you, number one. Number two, can it be hard on the relationship? Maybe if you're in a relationship with a significant other, it might be a little strenuous. But again, that just ties into time management. I know Gigi was about to probably punch me through the camera, but listen, it falls into
No,
time
I don't want to
management.
punch you. It's, you know what? It's, you have to be able. There was this wonderful video about this great rabbi, and I forgot his name. So this wonderful rabbi that gave the analogy of the lobster. So
Mm,
thinking about lobster growing and his shell, you know, he would grow bigger than his shell, and this is like the pressure. This is good pressure. So
hmm.
because it's growth, and
Yes,
you have to become comfortable with the idea of being totally uncomfortable for a long time, and maybe your whole life.
100%.
Because my whole life is, yes, I'm going to be uncomfortable. For me, I don't see growth. If I'm not uncomfortable at some point, I am not growing. I need to get out of that shell.
Yeah,
So I'm that lobster. I'm going to be growing, and my shell is going to be too small. And yes, there is going to be stress. And this is when it's stress. And that is good stress. That is good uncomfortable. That
yeah,
shows personal growth. And I learned to embrace
yeah.
that uncomfortable feeling. I know it may sound crazy, but it's a good thing. Like right now, I am every morning when we do this on Friday, I have a little thing in my stomach. I'm gonna listen to myself again after we do this, and I'm gonna sound so stupid with that big French accent.
No.
You know what? It's that good, comfortable. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Number one, I'm going to tell you why I do those things. This is part of my growth in business. I want to make sure that my message comes across understood. So because I have this impediment of having English as a second language, and I was not
That's a brick. You keep putting bricks in front of you about your English language, G. Stop doing it.
No, but you see how I just break down that wall is by actually going live and giving back
There
somewhat
you go.
two things that I learned along the 25 years in this business. And that's it.
And you've been doing great. You've been doing great.
But
So I
you,
appreciate
Ed,
being your host. Your
Ed, you've
co-host.
been doing great. I know Ed from the time he was this part-time agent, and then we never talked about when you decided to make the jump to being full-time. I know you still have your plumbing business, do you?
Yes.
But it's run differently, right?
Correct.
So when did you decide to make the plunge? Because I know from the beginning you started in real estate, you had your growing pains, but I know you never felt alone because we were, all of us at our former brokerage.
Big support system.
I mean, I know we sometimes been hard on you and say,
just submit the offer. I know. I overthink things. Listen, Israel, look, and I'm sad Israel's not on this call with us to enjoy this. But look, Israel was another gentleman that I went over to. You know, we connected.
Yeah.
We had a good conversation. We were doing a lot as far as the practicing the scripts. Nobody likes the scripts, but understand that the script is something that you use as a bullet point. These are the questions that you should be asking. If you've never done it before, just follow it. Once you get that list down packed, you're going to be able to ask the same exact questions just with your twist, your personality. So that's what Israel and I would spend time on. We would have conversations, go through it, make phone calls. Gigi would help me out. There were so many people. I mean, I can go on for days, you know what I mean, as far as the support system that we had, but it comes down to that. It was understanding that, I'm in business though. And look, for those of you who have ever done a co-op transaction, you can put it in the chat, raise your hand, whatever the case is. But there was a co-op transaction that I had to put the board application together. And it took me like 7 days. It was like God built Rome quicker than it took me to put this little application together. And I had to go through it with a comb. And then I had to put 3 more together. You know what I mean? So it's like going through that.
Yeah.
And it's like to have the support system that, like I said, Gigi was like, "What the hell are you doing, man? You still putting that thing together?" Yeah, because I want to make sure this thing is perfect. Like, I don't want this to be messed up. This is my first application. Now I'm like, come on, hurry up. Let's put this thing together, man. Hurry up. We don't got time for this. You know what I mean? But it's just going through that process. And the fact that they were there to support me through that was good. One thing that I will leave off with is, look, if you're taking the exam and you're trying to figure out what brokerage makes the most sense for you, okay, what I would say is you should ask them a few questions, right?
Yes, no, absolutely right.
You should ask them a few questions, okay? Everybody thinks about commission. I know it's going to be hard, but step back from that, because at the end of the day, what you pay again is what you're going to get. So if you're not investing in yourself, you're just going to get whatever you put into it. So there's a lot of brokerages out there that'll willingly accept you, but they're not giving enough information. So find out what are the tools that they're going to allow you to take advantage of.
If you're going to hear 100% broker from the get-go, 100% of what? What are you getting 100%? If it's 100% of you by yourself,
how much experience do you have in real estate? Because 100% of zero is zero at the end of the day, right? So I want people to invest. That's what I was looking for. And it's funny, and I tell this story a lot. At that time, we were part of Exit Realty, but there was Lily Steele. I don't know if she's out there on the call, but Lily Steele, she was my champion. You know why I look at her as my champion? Because, as I said earlier, I took the exam 4 times. Every time I went there to take the exam, Lily Steele was there. Yes. She was there telling me, Edward, first of all, she acted like she didn't know who I was. She had my name 5 different times already, right? Like, she takes my name on the list. And I remember the last time I got there and I was feeling down. I'm like, damn, man, I don't know. I took this test 3 times already. Like, the 4th time, I can't even believe this. And right as I'm about to step out of my car, she comes out. And I'm like, look at this. And she's like, hey, you know what brokerage you're going to be a part of? And I'm like, Lily, you don't, and that was it. I said, Lily, you don't remember me? And she's like, what do you mean?
people.
I
Yeah.
was like, you speak to me almost all the time. And she's like, you know what? This is your day. This is the day that you're going to pass that test. I know
Oh
you
my
can
God.
do it. And I said, you know what, Lily? You're right. I'm going to pass that test. I went in there and I passed it. And as soon as I passed it, I went looking for her. I wasn't looking for the commission splits. I wasn't looking for the
I'm looking
tools
for
and
somebody
everything.
who
I
believes
was
in you.
looking for
Yeah.
someone to support me, to root me, to
Yes.
cheer me on, to say, hey, you can do this. And she again, she probably didn't recognize me. After a while, we had our communication once I was a part of the team. And every time we would speak, I would tell her, you don't remember? And she's like, and then so we would laugh about it. But she was cheering me on. So look, Gigi put it up there, right?
You
It's
got this.
you got it. It might feel it feels like this. I swear to you, it feels just like this. Whether you're making the calls, taking the training, taking
You're
the
not
step for the
sure you
first
got
time,
it, but you do.
but somehow you just gotta know deep down inside that you're gonna achieve it. All right. So what I would say, like I said, ask your brokerage. Yeah, see what kind of training material they have. See what kind of support system they have. Everybody
Super.
uses the word culture. Remember that 5-year-old or fifth grade question?
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, right? What kind of support are you offering?
Yeah.
Everybody says culture. What about your culture is so good? The other
Yeah.
thing I would say is, I know we said don't really think about the commission splits, but understand that as a realtor, we play a lot of roles. There's a lot of roles, there's a lot of positions that we have to juggle. Okay. Find out how many different avenues of income you would be able to generate off of the work that you're already doing. I'm going to repeat it again. Find out how many different ways you, as a sales agent coming aboard their brokerage, find out how many different ways of income they have available for you to
For
make.
you.
Okay.
Yes.
Because some brokers, they'll offer the commission. Some would
Yeah.
say, hey, if you kind of bring somebody aboard, we'll give you a little cut, but this is capped out. You want to see what opportunities are available because there are a lot. There's a lot of brokerages, there's a lot of real estate companies, there's a lot of independent companies, but you have to figure out what's in it for you. At the end of the day, you have to eat. We have to
Yes.
make money.
And just remember, you also, we're talking about the education.
Yes.
If you have a budget, or whether big or small, and if you guys want to discuss more in details,
Mhm.
what kind of training and coaching programs are out there, please PM us, contact us through Facebook, through Instagram. You have Ed's Instagram listed right here. Um, just get coaching is actually really good. You should be getting some sort of training and coaching, and I really, really emphasis on that. And then see your different avenues, see what kind of budget you have for that. Set aside, it could be small or greater. It doesn't have to be $1,000 a month for a weekly consultation. It could be a lot less and very effective as well. All right. So yes,
100%.
in the end, you can do it. You need that grit, that grit that you need to want to do it, and then be ready to, want to do it part time, sure. But to
Yeah.
me, it was always great to see that in the end, doing it for full time has such great rewards. And I'm really, really grateful to this business.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I would add to that, Gigi, is look, like at the end of the day, it's the mindset. You got to set it in place. If
Yes.
you're working full time and you're thinking about doing this part time, I said it before, it sounds like you might hate your current job. And if that is the case, in my opinion, that's probably going to be one of the biggest whys outside of, your
But don't leave
family,
that
your
job yet. You
friends.
don't have
Yeah,
to.
don't. You
Yeah.
have to
Yes.
utilize it because that
Be
job
smart
right there,
about it. Yeah.
yeah, that job right there is gonna be the only thing, and I'm gonna say it, it's gonna be the only thing keeping you from your wallet and being in your heart. Because if you're making the income, you're not going to think so much about making that money. You're not going to think about so much of closing the deal. You're not going to think about that. You're just going to say, hey, I'm getting paid anyway. I'm just going to see what kind of deals I can put together. Let me just pay attention to the people that I'm working with, see what it is that they want, and see how I can offer value. And if you offer that value, they're going to work with you. They want to,
Yeah.
again, Lily Steele, she brought me aboard because she was cheering me on. If you go through the pre-approval process, like Gigi said, and you yourself understand what the lenders are looking for, and then you have an idea of the emotions that go behind it, then you'll be able to understand how to speak to your customers or clients better.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
So in the end, yes, it's doable. It requires a lot of mindset, a lot of preparation, and
Yep.
having a plan doing it, and having a support system, whether it's a coach or whether it's a broker or a team
Hmm.
leader. It's very, very important.
Yep.
And I've seen, like, Ed, you're an example of somebody part-time just going into full-time and just finding your niche and finding who you are and making it. And I'm really, really proud of this.
Thank you.
Really, really.
That actually goes out to you guys. You guys helped shape me and mold me, so I appreciate it. But I take that and I keep moving forward. So I'm
Yes.
appreciative of you guys. So thanks, Gigi. Thanks
Yeah.
to the entire team. But look, what I will leave off with this, Gigi, if you don't mind, is guys.
Go
If
ahead,
you
take it away.
did
Take
have
it
any
away.
questions, if you did, thanks. If you did have any questions, or if you were curious, or you wanted to know, hey, what's the next step? I'm thinking about getting my license. Look, I'm not as like full of energy as I might be, as happy and as excited I am as about my brokerage. At the end of the day, I want you to just have a better experience, because coming in, it might feel difficult. There's a lot of
Oh,
agents out there that might turn their back to you. Okay, this is reality, but you can't change them. You can only work with what you have in your mind. All right, so
absolutely.
understand that. And if you have any questions, reach out to
Any
Gigi,
question at all?
reach
Yes.
out to myself. We can sit there and discuss the opportunities at hand, and then help you guys find the right path,
Right.
because that's key.
And
We want to help you
again,
guys.
I'm going to throw it out there. If you're interested in learning more about our brokerage, okay, and what we do, where we are at, because we're not mentioning names, we're not mentioning anything specifically for a reason. But if you're interested in knowing more about what Ed, Israel, and I do on a daily basis with the brokerage we're in, and the opportunities, the many different stream of incomes we have the opportunity to earn, please
Yes.
PM us. And please, here you go, you have Ed. This is your Instagram, right? NYC Home with Ed.
Yes, that's my Instagram. So what you see in my caption, minus the underscores, because I just space it out so it's readable. Because some people look
Yeah.
at it and they're like, "What?" But
All
yeah,
right, so just reach out to us and we'll help you out. So until next week, my friends, I guess we'll talk to you next Friday at 11. Thank you for tuning in. All right.
have a good weekend, everybody.